Hey everybody, welcome back. We are getting ready to watch some more Dahmer. It's been a while. In fact, I just put up episode 4 this past week, and I was like, oh crap, I gotta get some more recorded. And my friend drug me out of the house yesterday. We went off-roading, so I had a very long day yesterday. Got up at 5 a.m. I've only 5 hours of sleep and didn't get home until 10:30 at night. So long, long day, and ended with a migraine. Could have been lack of sleep, but could have been being out in the sun all day, could have been not eating well through the day because there weren't really good times to eat. The times that we were stopped for a long time, I didn't know we were going to be stopped for a long time, and I was like, I could have eaten my salad. Uh, so, and I don't know if you've ever tried to eat or drink stuff while on the trails. It doesn't go well. So, so yeah, long day yesterday. I've got to get at least one episode of Dahmer recorded for you all. I've got to get some painting stuff done just to have stuff ready for the Christmas show that's in 2 months, less than 2 months now. So I technically have a month and a half, less than a month and a half to get everything ready so it at least has time to cure. You know the drill. So, Dahmer. It's been at least 3 weeks since I've watched it, maybe 2 weeks. Have I deleted episode 4 yet? So, longer than I thought. It's been 4 weeks since I watched it. Last watched it on August 27th. So, today is October 8th. Yeah, it's been a while. So, and it was a good thing I just edited it because it helped remind me of some of the things that have happened. And basically, we're getting some of the back and forth of background that's going on with him. One of the commenters did point out that they apparently like things like I do. They like it to go in order, or you can give us the beginning, but then keep the rest of it in order. But we're kind of going back and forth a little bit, which is confusing me. And they prefer chronological as well. But they did answer one question I had, which is I kept saying, well, what's the surgery he had? What's the surgery? And I can't remember if I researched it and found it. If I did, I already forgot. But the commenter said that it was a hernia surgery that he had. So that would not add to his peculiar behaviors. No, if everybody who had hernia surgery ended up having peculiar behaviors, they wouldn't do it anymore. Or they'd find a different way to do it. So, yeah, that's not explaining things. I'm trying to think if we had, we've had two accidental kills. The boy who overdosed, or he didn't overdose. There was a boy who overdosed, but he didn't die. But that's what got kicked him out of the club, and the rent a room, I guess would be a good way to put it. But he did accidentally kill one of the members that he met there because he drugged himself and drugged the dance club member and beat him in his stupor, apparently. Then he cut him up and put his head in the good boy box. Yeah. So we've got that. We've had the older brother, he's kind of stalked, but we haven't seen him do anything with the older brother of the younger brother who he did kill. That, or it, did he kill him? No, he hasn't killed the younger brother yet. The younger brother, cops got involved. but they didn't do anything at that time. Okay, keeping everything straight. This intro is getting a little too long because I'm trying to remember everything. At any rate, let's go ahead and get into the next episode. So this episode is called Blood on Their Hands. So it sounds like we're going to be blaming somebody else for these deaths. At least Jeffrey is going to be blaming somebody else for the blood on their hands. It's their fault that these people are dead, or something like that. I get that threat all the time from people who call the crisis line and then they don't like the laws or the way things work or something like that. And they say, well, if they die, their blood is on your hands. Yeah, unfortunately, I get that a lot. So usually when they're saying blood on their hands, they're blaming other people for the death, whether those folks deserve the blame or not. So let's find out who's getting blamed for what and what Jeffrey is up to.
Nothing. I don't think they're paying you for doing nothing.
Grabbed a soda rather than a beer.
Don't you want to talk about it?
Something to talk about. You just fix the chocolate all night long.
All right, fine. Just asking.
Is he really working at a candy place? Drinking beer at work. American sliced cheese sandwich. Is that one of his victims?
I decided I was going to dig them up.
And what did you plan on doing?
Grave robbing. Aren't the coffins even for viewing, they've got them open, but after the viewing and everything, don't they put like a type of seal on the coffin? I know when they exhume, they can reopen them, but doesn't it take a little bit? I guess he could pry it open. Mm, don't like it.
You wanted to control these guys.
Yeah,
But he's also trying to reanimate the dead.
everybody was always telling me what to do.
Maybe he means these other men that he's meeting that are alive, but it sounded like the reason why he dug up Daniel and laid with him is because he was hoping he would like the same stuff he did, but he's dead. He can't like anything. I don't know, just kind of weird. Oh, I will say, I forgot to mention this. I did find out since watching the last episode that there is a season two. So I don't know if there's necessarily closure at the end of season one or if they're just going to do more storytelling of his confessions and stuff. I was kind of surprised that they're doing a season two, but I do know it's coming.
Talking about Stephen Hicks. You said
Stephen,
that was accidental.
the concert goer,
You should know their names. These are people you killed.
showing some animosity,
So Stephen Hicks is
rightfully
dead.
so.
He was the one at the hotel downtown.
Oh, both were Stevens?
Both Steves.
Oh, okay.
That was an accident as well.
Didn't really want to have the same reaction that he did.
Yeah. When I was living with my grandma, I'd go to the bars and I'd pick someone up and take them back to her house.
He killed them at Grandma's house. And I didn't think Grandma had liquor in the house. Hmm. Crushed the windpipe. Probably didn't pick up on the recording, but sitting here thinking while watching this, it's got to be weird for Evan Peters because he's got to get into the character and everything. But on the flip side of it, the other actors who are receiving the psychotic behavior, it's got to be weird for them too.
You purposefully moved into an apartment in the black community.
What I could afford, sir.
To an area that was under-patrolled and underserved. And you knew that, isn't that right? Easier to get away with things there, easier to hunt.
So you can tell from the tone of the voice of the investigator who's talking now, obviously very upset, hard to disguise any kind of disgust, animosity, all that kind of stuff. I don't think they're really playing good cop, bad cop. I think he's trying to push buttons to get some emotion out of this guy, Jeffrey, and trying to get more information by pushing those buttons. But I think it's hard for him to even stay in control of that part of it as he's asking questions. Because I know that investigators have to be careful of what type of questions they ask. I believe they go through, or most will go through some sort of training, how to ask things, what to ask, because the DA then has to take all of that and say, well, I can't use this because you were leading them on, or they sound like they're confessing under duress, or, stuff like that. So I know there's got to be some guidelines. We'll put it that way. Not necessarily rules, not necessarily laws, but some guidelines that investigators have to adhere to make sure that the case stays solid and usable and all of that kind of stuff. If you show any kind of biases, the defense attorney usually will uh, cling on to that and use that against you and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know if that officer is crossing the line at all with any of the questioning that he's doing, but his animosity is just seething through, rightfully so.
Well, at that point, I just kind of panic.
And I don't think he has a type other than a gay man.
Grandma was going to come down there and find him.
Had he cut them up at all?
You know, the compulsion had just taken over completely at that point.
So this is the end of the 9 years,
The electric chair.
9 year break.
No, she suspected something. Just,
Not that.
not what I was actually doing, I don't think. Yeah, I think she just didn't want to know.
Do we know if the grandmother actually saw the three men, or just that Jeff assumes she did?
It's my taxidermy stuff. Told you that already.
Taxidermy, I guess, is a good excuse. I'm going to pause a minute. I just heard a pop in my earbud, and I want to make sure it's not adding ticks in the video recording. All right. I had played around before starting Dahmer to see if I could recreate the ticking sound that we were having with Hercules: The Legendary Journeys, and I couldn't get it to replicate. Well, I did start having it with the Dahmer episode. So I think it has something to do with my microphone, because when I'm talking, it's doing it, the microphone on the earbuds. And so I am using my laptop microphone now, and I apologize for the quality. I know it's not as good, as clean of a sound, but we're going to get this episode recorded. I do have new earbuds coming that hopefully will work well, and so hopefully that problem will get fixed. So I need to go turn off the dehumidifier though. Okay, I think we're ready. Let's go ahead and get back to the episode.
Very distinct.
My sound gets messed up when I switch between programs.
Flesh decomposing, that's a very distinctive smell. We are.
She might not be able to tell the difference between human and animal, though.
When she found my altar,
Oh, he had an altar. Wonderful.
That's the key to work, I think. Jeff, unlock it.
I don't think there'll be any human stuff in there. Well, he is nervous, though.
Yeah. You're the one that taught me to do it, you know.
Blood's on his hands. Is that where we're going? Wasn't he taught never to do that?
What is this?
Blood.
It's one of my experiments. Get rid of that comic book devil stuff, too, goddammit. I mean, I know you say it comes from a movie and all, but...
The altar stuff. So we're going to play comic books on that.
I really did screw up.
He really did screw up, but he didn't get caught. Or legally caught. I don't know if that's a gremlin or a citation. I think it's a gremlin.
Dead battery. I don't know how you're going to fix that. You should let me help you.
Or did Jeffrey mess with the car?
I'll just wait here.
He wants him to go with him.
You should come with. Come on, let's grab a taxi before we get robbed.
His grandma's around the corner. Why do you need a taxi? Is she going to come down the steps?
Oh, I see the fruit cellar. Fruit cellar?
That's a little creepy, Jeff.
I'm just here because you said you'd give me a hand, okay? Come on, quiet. I'm just being polite. Seeing if you want something is all.
He did get pretty loud. I'm surprised Grandma's not down the steps yet.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Is he not going to look for his keys? Look for his keys?
We're not sleeping together or nothing. Well, we'll see. Alright. Fuck you.
I was going to say, he does not get the social cues. He does not get how to not say things that'll put people on edge. You know, that kind of stuff.
I will not have some stranger dying in my house.
He'll be fine. Just let him sleep it off. Jeez.
She's already had 3.
I'll go back to bed.
Would he do anything to his grandmother?
And you can bet your sweet baby your father's going to hear about that.
Is this what gets him the stern lecture from Dad at one point?
Grandma.
I'm glad the grandmother is at least caring about him and not wanting anything to happen to him. Unfortunately, he doesn't have I was going to say he doesn't have enough information to report it, but he was somewhat sober going to Jeff's house. Does he remember where it's at? Or Grandma's house? Does he remember is the question. Don't get hit. He's going to get hit. Okay, he didn't get hit, but almost. In a hospital?
You should talk to the police.
Are the police going to believe him? Since he's a black man in the 80s, I don't know.
Like I said, we'll look into it.
Well, he wrote it down, but is he really going to look into it?
And if I was to have a look around in your bedroom, I wouldn't find any, like tranquilizers or whatnot.
Nope, they're in the kitchen.
And I was there the whole time. That
No.
is true.
Not the whole time. Was that an arm on the tray?
That was disappointing.
Yeah, it looks like the arm is cut off. So did he put the bracelet on somebody else's arm? Because that's not a black man's hand. I don't think. I don't think it's a black man's hand.
You should know. Getting arrested doesn't suddenly make you guilty of everything.
Oh. Race profiling.
Without any evidence, yes. That's what I'm saying.
Unfortunately, that part's true.
I can't divulge.
I don't know how well he searched, though, at the invitation of Dahmer. And we're still following this guy. Is something else going to happen?
Hey! Don't get in that cab!
He's going to have to find a new hunting ground. Is he going to let the establishment know about Jeffrey? It looks like Jeff drugged himself again. Is he going to tell them the same thing that happened to the black man? They'll call an ambulance. Sugar in the chocolate? Yeah. So that young man knew enough to report Jeffrey. Does he get charged and convicted of anything? Well, I guess, do they have to charge him to arrest him? I don't think they have to charge him to arrest him, but they have so much time to do a charge.
You need a second chance. And this is your lucky day.
She's surprised he's giving him a second chance.
Hopefully you will have learned your lesson and you'll get your act together.
So no consequences. A lot of people are not happy about that.
Because we're at our wits' end with you, Jeff. Our wits' end.
Is he still with that lady?
About another 10 minutes.
Yep. So now Dad's letting him have a beer?
Your grandmother.
And a little whiskey for Dad.
Where's that box?
Uh-oh. Does he still have all of Dad's stuff somewhere so he can quickly exchange things? He's going to follow him. So he's not going to be able to exchange everything. Is he going to hold on to the key? Is Dad going to ask for the key? Did he exchange things out of it fast enough? He's going to get it out now and throw it somewhere. Because you heard him lock the bedroom door. Where'd he shove the head? So the head was in a jar. Did he move it to a jar of formaldehyde after a period of time?
What the heck happened, Jeff?
I don't know.
Now we're back at the military. Or we're revisiting all of his disappointments in Jeff. Is Dad realizing that all of these things are starting to add up? So is that picking him up from prison?
He looked right at me.
Jeff, Dahmer. No, my son was a child.
My family, we're not eating or sleeping.
Okay, maybe if your father would like to hand his letter to the bailiff, we can enter it into the record.
So cut the father off
Mr. Dahmer,
because he's foreign.
the charge of sexual assault in the second degree, you have pled no contest.
So no contest means that he's not saying that he's guilty, but he's not going to argue against the charge either. I never quite understood exactly why that is an option. Oh, so Dad wrote the letter asking for leniency.
Sincerely, Lionel Dahmer.
Is that the first time we've gotten his name? Lionel? Still making him get his own place?
So you're going to be staying with your grandma for a week, and that's it. And then you got to find an apartment on your own. No. You just leave you alone in there.
Well,
I just kept to myself all
Dad didn't want to hear that.
It's kind of the best part. Once you warm up the car, I'm parked down at the very end. I'm going to head to John. Okay.
He's going to complain to them. Oh, maybe not complain. He's just going to have a cry. And the end. So, he did get caught for sexual assault, but the judge took leniency, was kind of dismissive of how serious the crimes actually were, and kind of gave that privileged bit of sentencing. Didn't even listen or read or care about the dad's letter. We don't know if the judge even read it, but if he did read it, he didn't order any kind of therapy for him, or not even order, but suggest, hey, take a look into this kind of thing. I don't know if they had mental health teams in the prisons by that time. I know all of the prisons, I'll take that back. I know that prison systems in North Carolina and Virginia have mental health teams. I know that North Carolina has a program called DART, which is for drug addiction, alcoholism, that sort of thing. Doing kind of what you do in outpatient treatment. They're not going to do detox or anything like that. by the time the person is going to jail or prison, they should be detoxed. Now, if it's pre-trial, they might have to go to detox first and then kind of go from there. But the jail staff, that's one of the things that they may call and consult a mental health professional about. Most jails have a contract in North Carolina. The jail system has a contract with one of the providers in the county to not only do mental health assessments, but do a substance abuse assessment if needed, just depending on what symptoms the person's showing, that sort of thing. By the time they get to prison, they don't need detox. But they may still need the mental health treatment part of things, the addiction, education, psychoeducation part of things, that kind of stuff. So I know those two states have a program. I would feel fairly confident in saying most states have some type of mental health team in the DOC. In fact, I know Washington DOC has their, Virginia, I know that Virginia and Washington DOC has their teams study motivational interviewing, which is a communication style, but therapy uses it a lot. But they get their officers trained in it to help better the environment, not only for the officers, but for the offenders that are in prison, and pay attention to what the offender is saying they're needing, whether it's mental health help or GED or, whatever it might be. I'm pretty sure North Carolina DOC trains their officers in motivational interviewing as well, but I'm not positive on that. And I think it's Illinois. One of the people I work with is a Department of Corrections professional in either Indiana or Illinois. I think it's Illinois. And part of his job is teaching motivational interviewing to DOC employees. So I don't know if all states do therapy in the DOC system, but I would feel fairly confident in saying the majority do. So like I said, I don't know if they had things implemented back in the 80s. I want to say probably not. Mental health was still pretty much ignored in those days, but maybe. Who knows? I might be surprised. I don't know the history of the DOC all that well. It's just baffling how much stuff he got away with. He kept getting in trouble and still got away with everything. That being said, probably the biggest case, not that I was involved in, but that I was distantly connected to, the Sandusky scandal that happened. He was a former Penn State coach, and even though he was no longer a coach at the time of some of the crimes and the time of his arrest, it was still associated with Penn State. He actually had been investigated a couple of years before the whole scandal broke, and DSS did not do anything. The DA who was in charge did not press charges. That DA also disappeared, but he disappeared after he wasn't pressing charges. So that's a whole nother thing. They've never found the DA. He's presumed dead, but nobody knows what actually happened to him. They found his laptop, hard drive destroyed. They found his vehicle, all that kind of stuff, but they never found the DA. The board of the organization that he ran had been alerted to some stuff. They didn't do anything. So I say that about Jeffrey. It's amazing everything he got away with, or got leniency for. And here he is murdering people. But at the same time, in more recent news for me, there was Sandusky, who was getting away with all these crimes that he was doing against these boys, and nothing happening to him. It's a frustrating process. And it's one of those where you don't want people to be judged unfairly. You don't want them to be profiled inappropriately. You don't want a crime to be attached to them when they didn't do it. But at the same time, you don't want to let Joe Schmo off scot-free. It's that fine balance. And the officer saying, we don't have any evidence. We don't know how well he searched the house. Jeffrey offered to show him the room. We don't know if he actually looked or not. You got the impression that he didn't because of looking at Grandma, but I don't know for sure whether he went and looked at Jeffrey's room. But I don't think the drugs are up there anyhow. So he wouldn't have found the drugs. I don't know if he would have found the head in the jar, which is why they were showing us that scene between Dad, him, and the box. If the officer would have searched the room, would he have found the head? My assumption is the drugs are kept in the kitchen, and he keeps them in an area of the kitchen where Grandma never gets into. I don't know what area that would be, but he keeps beer in the house too, and he's not allowed to. So, questions, as well as there can be some assumptions, but not really wanting to assume things, Yeah. So, that was episode 5, Blood on Their Hands. They didn't really use that phrase, but I think the show is kind of saying the blood is on their hands. The blood is on the court system. The blood is on law enforcement's non-urgency to look into things. It's kind of like the show is saying that. The blood is on their hands. I don't know if it's fair or not. There's always a spin to these type of things. You're not always getting the full truth. Sometimes it's Hollywoodized. Sometimes they play with the facts a little bit just so it fits the storyline better. We saw that with Chernobyl. So, don't know. But thank you for joining me on this one. I'll see y'all on the next one. And hopefully I get my sound issues fixed by then. Bye.